Hi everyone, my name is Monique, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play a game that is coming soon called Portals. In Portals, a great wizard named Dominic Day discovered a way to use elemental magic in order to open up portals and travel to different worlds. And so in this abstract strategy game, 1 to 4 players compete to collect magic keys and to use elements in order to open up portals to score victory points. This game is designed by Maxim Istomin and published by Crowd Games, who are helping sponsor this video. And so the game comes with 2 optional modules as well as a solo mode. And so today I'm going to be showing you how to play the base game, but I'll also mention the modules at the very end of the video. And for more information regarding its upcoming release, I've included a link to their website in the description below. Last but not least, if you enjoy content like this and would like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing. And with that, we are ready to begin. So if you please direct your attention to the center of the table, we're all set up here for a 3-player game of Portals. Welcome to the in-between. This is where travelers are going to be when you travel between worlds. Now, just to kind of give you the lay of the land, in a 3-player game, each player sits with 1 elemental board in between each player. Because over the course of the game, players will only have access to elemental boards as well as stones on their left and right. And so in a 4-player game, you'll be using 4 elemental boards, and in a 2-player game, only 2 boards that are going to be in between each player, seated across from each other. And in the middle, we have the key card area. And so each round, we are going to be drafting these key cards and filling these symbols with elemental stones. Then as soon as our cards are filled, we are going to be transferring those stones to the various elemental boards in order to score points. And so the game is played over the course of 4 rounds, and each round consists of 3 phases. In the first phase, starting with the first player and continuing clockwise, players will take turns taking a key card as well as a stone from either one of the left or right circles. And so on your turn, you actually do both of these steps in that order. And so let's say I'm the start player. I might start by taking this key card. And so if you'll notice, each key card shows a different number of symbols. And these are the spaces where you're going to be placing the elemental stones on. In addition, each card has a number, and that is going to be important for the next phase, where we resolve our key cards in numerical order starting from the lowest value, which is why I took this card. And after a player takes a key card, then you automatically refill that space via the stack of the same color. So as you can see, there are 3 different colors of key cards. And the difference between the 3 colors is just the number of symbols that are shown. So because I took a purple card, mine has 4 symbols, whereas the orange cards only have 2 symbols. And when taking a key card, by the way, you cannot draw from the top of a stack. You can only choose from one of the available 6. Now each player can only have at most 4 key cards in front of them. And so at the start of your turn, if you already have 4, then you simply skip this step. In addition, if at the start of your turn you have fewer than 4 key cards and you have at least 1 available space to place a stone, then you can optionally choose to skip this step and not take an additional key card. Then you must take 1 elemental stone from a circle that's to your left or to your right. And so each player is represented by a shape, and so all of my player markers are going to be the oval shapes, the other players are going to be the triangle as well as the rectangle, and our markers are actually divided between the 2 circles that we have access to. Because after taking a stone, you're actually going to place one of your markers on that circle, which means you can only take at most 3 stones from each circle per round. So this is one of the parts of the game that causes some strategic friction between players, because you're going to be competing for the stones that are on one circle with a player across from it. Then you must place the stone that you took on one of the available open symbols on one of your key cards. So maybe I'll place it right there. And by the way, there are 5 different types of elemental stones in the game, and they are each designated by a color as well as a symbol. Beige represents air, green, earth, red, fire, blue, water, and then the violet represents time. And all of the elemental stones are randomly drawn from this bag and distributed by whoever the first player is. And so once you've both taken a key card as well as a stone, then your turn ends and play proceeds to the next player clockwise. So after a full round of turns, then it is back to me for my next turn. And since I still have available spots on my key card, I can choose to not draw a key card this turn. But each round, I'll be able to take a total of 6 stones, and so I may want to take an orange card that only has 2 available spaces, which means I will be able to fill both of these cards in 1 round. And of course, this refills, and then maybe I will take another white stone, placing my marker on this circle this time. And I'll just place it there. And play continues like this until all players have taken a total of 6 stones, 3 from each circle, which is a total of 6 turns in the first phase. Now, if on your turn you have the maximum 4 key cards and no available spaces, then you still need to take a stone, but you return it to the bag. So try to avoid that as much as possible. Then, players move on to the next phase, where you get to activate your filled key cards and transfer them to the elemental boards. During this phase, players will only be able to transfer fully charged keycards, which are keycards whose symbols are completely occupied. And this phase is done in ascending numerical order, starting with the charged keycard of the lowest value, which in this case is my number 3. And so when activating a keycard, I'm going to transfer all of the elemental stones on that card to one of the 2 elemental boards on either side of me. So let's choose this one, for example. When transferring stones, you cannot change the orientation of the stones on the card. And none of the stones can be placed outside of the confines of the elemental board, but the empty fields can be oriented that way. And so let's just say I choose to transfer this entire card to this configuration right here, which matches the configuration on the key card. The stones that you transfer do not have to be the same color as the space that it's going on. And so in this example, I have 2 beige stones that are going on green spaces, and then a beige and a green stone that are actually matching the spaces that I'm placing them on. The key card then gets discarded to the discard pile, and then you score points for transferring your stones. And even though you're not required to match color when placing stones, it's actually in your best interest to, because when scoring points, you're going to score both for the colors that you matched as well as any adjacent colors that are matching. And so for color matching, you'll score 1 point if you matched 1, 2 points if you match 2, and then if you match 3 colors, then it would be 4 points, and if you matched all 4, then it would be a total of 6 points. Which means this would earn me a total of 2 points, since I only matched the beige and the green. Victory points are taken from the supply, and they're actually placed face down in front of you, because points in this game are kept hidden until the very end of the game. Then you would score for color adjacency, and so you would score 1 point for each stone that was already on the board that matches a color of a stone that you placed there. And that can be orthogonally adjacent or diagonally. And keep in mind, this does not count the stones that were on your key card. They have to be matching with stones that were already on the board, which for me is going to be 0 because I was the first placement. But over the course of the game, these stones are going to stay on the board, which means we're going to have a lot more opportunities to score for adjacency. Then we move on to the next fully charged card in numerical order. And so since mine was a number 3, that would mean this player would be going next with their number 4 card. And they would proceed the same way, transferring all of their stones, but this time they have a choice of this board, which I've already transferred stones to, or the board to their left. Now, considering I have a fully charged card here that has a nice beige that can fit right in there, they might decide at this point to block that spot off from me since I'm going to be going a little bit later. And so this is the other sort of strategic decision making that'll happen around the table when deciding which board to transfer to. And just as a note, when transferring stones to an elemental board, you can transfer a stone to a space that already has one, but in that case, the stone that you're transferring just goes back into the bag. So let's just pretend that this player did not transfer to this board, just so we have another example of scoring, and now it's back to my turn with a 25, which would technically happen after this player transfers their 4, since this player's number 22 is not fully charged. So then I would definitely want to transfer my key card to this elemental board, and I would probably do it in this fashion. Because if I were to orient it this way, I could place the beige stone here, and then I would have to place the violet stone on a matching color space, just like that. Then I would score 1 point for the single matching color, and I would score 1, 2, 3 points for color adjacency. And that is essentially how scoring works in this game. Now this phase continues until all players have transferred all of their charged key cards to one of the elemental boards. And fully charged key cards, by the way, cannot be transferred from round to round, so you might as well transfer them all. And once all players have finished transferring their key cards, then play proceeds to the third phase, which is just cleaning up for the next round. During this phase, players reset their player markers, and the bag gets passed to the next player clockwise, who then becomes the next start player and refills each circle with 6 stones. And at the end of the 4th round, the player with the most victory points wins. Now this game also comes with a solo mode as well as 2 optional modules that you can incorporate. The Magic Spells module includes this spell board with 4 different spells that players can activate by placing an elemental stone on it. On your turn, when taking a stone, instead of placing it onto one of your key cards, you can choose to place it on the spell board, activating the corresponding spell. If you're the first player to do this, then you are going to be determining the color of stones that can be placed on that spell. And all 4 spells must be activated using different colored stones. So from now on, players must place only orange stones here in order to activate this spell, which lets you take a stone from any board and move it to any unoccupied space, either on the same board or another board. This spell allows you to activate a key card that's not fully charged. This one lets you return 1 or 2 stones from a board back into the bag, and this one lets you take one of the stones from the spell board and place it on an unoccupied space on one of your key cards. And so as you can see, the Magic Spells module adds an extra layer of strategy because now you'll be able to move stones around from the various elemental boards as well as your key cards. And the other module is called the Secret Signs module, and it incorporates a deck of secret sign cards. During setup, players are going to be given 3 of these cards face down, so it's hidden from other players, and each player can decide how many of these to keep. These cards show a specific configuration that you're going to want to create on one of these elemental boards. And if you're able to do that, then you can discard it to gain 4 points. However, for each of these that you still have at the end of the game that you were unable to complete, it's going to be -2 points. A little bit of a gamble, but also makes the arrangements on the elemental boards a little bit more meaningful. And there you have it. That is how you play Portals. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, this game will be releasing in retail soon. And so for more information regarding the upcoming release, we've included a link to the publisher's website in the description below. Now, if you have any questions about anything that you saw here today, please feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching the video. I really hope it was helpful. If you enjoy content like this and would like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Bye.